Has your company made significant efforts to be more socially responsible, more green, to be a better corporate citizen, but not yet seen any true significant impact in terms of the number of consumers or customers who will buy from you compared with your competitors, or employees who say they want to come work for you? If that's the case, I think I know why, and I want to tell you how to solve it. I'm Dr. John Izzo, and I'm in the business of conversations that make the difference. And one of the conversations I think we have to have is, why is there this gap between consumers saying they want to buy from good companies and what they actually wind up doing, and how you can do something about it in your company? Well, let me first give you some really interesting statistics. About 83% of consumers worldwide say, all things being equal, they would rather buy or work for a company that is socially responsible and green. And about 60% of employees say they would leave a company if they knew they weren't a good citizen or weren't green. And yet, another statistic will tell you why we have such a big problem in companies trying to get consumers to convert to us. And that is that about 70% of customers all over the world say they are confused about whether the particular companies they buy from are good or not. And ironically, only 16% of them say they have any belief in the advertising or messages that we send to them telling them how good we are. So you might ask the question, how do we do something about that? If 83% say they'd buy from us if they knew we were good, but 70% say they're confused and 16% don't believe what we tell them in our advertisements. Well, let me tell you three things that I think can make a huge difference. First, I believe third-party certification is the wave of the future, and it's coming, and you better be ready for it. It won't be long before somebody can take their smartphone, scan your product in a store anywhere in the world, and instantly get a rating on how good you are on things like social responsibility and child labor, employees, being green, etc. And all over the world, people are starting movements to create third-party certification. So I have a suggestion for you in your company. Instead of being behind the curve, be ahead of it. Why not be a leader in creating the third-party certification? Be the first ones to sign up to get third-party certified. Remember, people believe an independent party saying you're good much more than believing you saying you're good. Here's the second thing. Who are the best ambassadors for your brand in terms of whether you really are a good citizen and green and someone we should buy from? I'll tell you who it is. Your own people. Because I'll tell you, if I talk to an employee in a company and I ask them, so tell me, is your company green? Do they care about the environment? Are they a good corporate citizen? Are they transparent in their communication? I will believe that employee long before I believe some advertisement that they run for me. So if you have 100,000 people who work for you, you have 100,000 people who are either ambassadors for your brand and its goodness or the opposite. I think one of the things we need to do in companies is work as hard to sell our story internally to our people as we do externally to our consumers and customers, maybe even more so. Give you a great example. Kimberly-Clark is in a major campaign right now, not to tell consumers how good and socially responsible they are, but to show their employees in an authentic way all over the world how good and socially responsible they are. Because they know that if their people believe it, pretty good chance they're going to sell that message authentically to others. Here's one more final way you can close that gap. Why not demonstrate in very clear and tangible ways that you want people to do the right thing? Here's a great example. I do a lot of work in the restaurant business. Straws are a major source of plastic garbage and pollution all over the world, including in the oceans. And yet, restaurant after restaurant simply puts a straw in your drink without asking you. You want to show the customers that you're good? Put a little sign on the table that says, by the way, because we care about the environment, we're not giving you a straw, but if you ask for one, we're happy to give it to you. If you're a hotel chain, instead of having a little thing on the counter that says, if you want your towels not to be changed, put the card outside. Instead, say, we care so much about the environment, we will only change your towels if you ask, because we care that much about doing the right thing. Here's the bottom line. All over the world, consumers are saying, if I know you're good, I'm going to buy from you. But there is a major opportunity for every company out there who truly is green and truly is good, because unless you can close the gap and clear the confusion, you won't get that competitive advantage. And because so few companies are closing that gap, because they're mostly just advertising and trying to sell us, which only 6% of us to 16% of us believe, there's a problem. So I want to challenge you, share with us what you're doing in terms of closing this gap and showing your story to consumers. Second of all, let's begin a conversation. How can we authentically tell our story so that good companies will capture the advantage that they ought to get?